Malaysia. Morning. Morning, everyone. Okay, first and foremost, right, I would like to just address this very quickly before we even start this training. Now, we realize that a lot of people, sometimes when we get into too technical understanding or even explanation about this project, then sometimes accidentally you have this tendency to confuse your potential customers or your potential, distributors, for instance. Okay, so I would like you to just come to this training with an open mind and learn what you need to learn good enough for you to close the sale, but try not to get into too technical explanation, because I realize that, because first of all, we are not engineers. We are not the developer of this particular technology. We need to know certain facts, which is good enough for marketing. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to run through the slides my team and I have created, and there is a lot of technical stuff going on, and it's actually for the benefit of you understanding about this technology better, and at the same time, we also want you to participate. Okay, and again, a kind reminder for those people who just joined the room, we would love to have you asking questions, but we will appreciate if, let's say, these questions comes towards the end of today's session, so it will not break today's momentum. Okay, now let's begin. So what we did was we actually sort of like break down today's topic into different subtopics. Okay, first of all, I'll be covering the topic of back to basic. And so in back to basic, there is just a few key points there. What emGuarde's function is, how does it work? At the same time, what's the benefit of your customers purchasing the emGuarde? Okay. Then I'll be addressing a few of the most commonly asked questions from the customers, which is technical, and how do we address it in a more proper manner. After that, my colleague will then cover some of the installation experiences and also demonstration experiences, okay, after my section. And we're going to conclude today's session by having some FAQs from the crowd today. There is 115 of you, okay? So back to basic. We have to get the basics right before we talk to our customer. And the first thing is that, oh, this is an anti-radiation technology marketed through Energic. So this thing, some people, super salesmen, they'll say this thing can resolve all the radiation issues around us. Now, this is wrong, okay? Now, today, we have to be very careful with our audience, because whenever you present your project to these people, maybe, below the table, they are there holding their phones, Googling about what you say, okay? So facts is very important, and we need to get it right in order for everyone to become a professional in marketing this particular technology segment, okay? So the first thing I would like to share with everyone is that, what is emGuarde's function? Okay, so what's the function? Now, emGuarde's function is built to suppress EM radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. So this is the main function of the emGuarde. Okay, it is built to suppress EM radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. Now, don't worry about these slides, because everything will be shared in the library, and my colleague will put on the link to the library so everyone can have this, opportunity to download these particular slides. So for now, you just stay focused on the points. So this is a function of emGuarde. It is built to suppress, radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000. Okay, now next question is, so from 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, what is this? Which frequency designation is this under? So the correct answer is, from 3 megahertz to 3 gigahertz, it is fall under the high frequency segment. Okay, so emGuarde is also built to suppress EM radiation within the high frequency designation. So this is the actual words that you should use when you present to your customers. Okay, so followed by next one. So from 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, so this actually falls under which electromagnetic spectrum? Now, this is very important because emGuarde is not built to resolve radiation from all electromagnetic spectrum. Okay? So to give you a basic understanding, this is how an electromagnetic radiation spectrum looks like. Okay? And it's like the Kangen water presentation, you have your acidic and alkaline chart. Okay? So for electromagnetic radiation, it's very simple as well. There is only two things. One, it falls under ionizing spectrum, which is the right-hand side, the orange one. Okay. Another one falls under the non-ionizing spectrum, which is the red one, the one in circle. So emGuarde is actually resolving radiation issues within the non-ionizing spectrum. Okay. So quick question. What is the differences between ionizing and non-ionizing? Very simple. If you look at the arrows below, ionizing simply represents more energy. Okay, more energy. And non-ionizing simply represents less energy. Okay, so now when we talk about more energy, we are talking about radiations like from the gamma rays, from the nuclear reactor, from the X-ray room in the hospitals and stuff like that. That's why now you know why in hospitals they are restricting ordinary people to get in to this X-ray room without proper attire and equipment and like this. Okay, because ionizing radiation has got enough energy to immediately, or in a short period of time of exposure, it has enough energy to directly destroy your DNA, on a cellular level. So we are not addressing that because up to now, there is nothing in the world that has the ability to resolve that ionizing radiation. But on the other hand, emGuarde is that built to resolve non-ionizing radiation. Now, although this radiation, which is non-ionizing, has got less energy, to immediately destroy you from your cellular level or DNA level, but over time. Okay, so non-ionizing radiation here, we are talking about over time, meaning if let's say your exposure time, it's long. Now, may I ask you one simple question? How many hours do you spend a day using this gadget here? Your handphone? 5 minutes? I don't think so, right? So let's say we are using this 5 minutes versus 5 hours per day. So this is what I meant by exposure duration. So the longer the duration it is, means you have got a higher probability that it might do something to you in terms of biological changes. So this is non-ionizing. Okay, so emGuarde is built to address this. If you notice, there's two red arrows pointing down. So the specific range of 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz is actually within the radio and the cell phone range. Okay, so this is the range that emGuarde is working. So far, so good? All right, so now let me just share with you a quick summary on if let's say a new prospect asks you how does emGuarde works. So emGuarde is built to suppress high frequency electromagnetic radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz under the non-ionizing radiation spectrum. Anyone want me to repeat that statement? Okay, I'm going to do it again. Okay, listen carefully. So let's say a new prospect asks you, so what's this emGuarde doing? What's the function? So emGuarde is built to suppress high frequency electromagnetic radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz that falls under the non-ionizing radiation spectrum. So this is the complete factual answer for the functionality of emGuarde. Okay, very good. Now, anyone here so far, you have get the points and you're still getting this? Maybe I can just see that, from the chat box, you can just key in maybe a number 3. So I know that you guys are still with me and you're getting the points so far. Okay, all right, 3 from chat box. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for all the responses. Now, the next back to basic question, how does emGuarde works? So I think a lot of people want to know how does it work and all that, okay? So now let's go into this thing without being too scientific. So I've already created a very simple diagram to show you A typical EM radiation source, it comes from either your power line or a battery-operated devices. As long as there is electricity going through your gadget, potentially it's going to generate certain level of EM radiation energy, okay, from typical source. But then the energy can then travel further away from your devices, okay, through a frequency, or we call it a noise frequency vibration, okay, something like this. You can see that sine wave going through, okay. So this is how the energy travel, okay, through frequencies or noise frequency. So it brings out the energy from the source itself. Now over here, I'm going to show you a video that we capture because I know it's a Zoom training. So I'm trying to be as clear as possible. So I did this beforehand. And to show you that, from our measurement using the detector, how noise frequency can actually carry the energy out from a typical phone, which is the source of radiation, to you, which is a body or an object. Okay, let's play the video.
Okay guys, they're here to show you that, this is an example of the radiation source coming from the phone itself. But as you can see, the radiation will not travel to your inner wrist, okay? Unless I play the video and there is noise wave coming up from the speaker. So now as you can see, the noise wave is actually bringing the radiation out from the phone to your inner wrist. And when I pause the video, as you can see, the radiation detector stops beeping. And as soon as I play again, and when there is noise wave, the radiation will carry out from the source through the noise wave to the inner wrist.
Okay, so basically this is a very simple video to show you that the source itself, when we use the detector and when we point towards the phone, this is where the detector is able to capture the power reading from the phone. But the energy will stay within the phone, okay? And it will also affect your palm. So that's why some people, when you hold to your phone for maybe, let's say, half an hour, you can actually feel that there is this numbness, okay, of your finger and all that. So this is how it affects you. But whenever we turn on the speaker, we play a video using a YouTube, we turn on the speaker, and when there is noise waves going around through the speaker, so it's sort of like it enhances or it amplifies the energy out from the source. And this is how the energy travels from your palm to your inner arm. Okay, so this is a simple demonstration to show you what do I mean by this particular slide. So it travels out. So how emGuarde works is basically very simple. Okay, this is a patented technology. First of all, emGuarde analyzes its environment within 4-meter radius, okay, analyzing within the coverage area. Then emGuarde, it's going to release a set of cancellation frequencies in its opposing amplitude. So it's like a neutralization process, okay, to cancel off all this noise waves or frequencies pathway between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, okay? And by doing that, emGuarde, it's able to reduce the general radiation intensity within the coverage area, which is 4-meter radius. So this is how simple it is. Okay, it's a patented technology. So let me just read out this. So the harmonic frequency, also known as cancellation frequency, have opposing amplitudes to their corresponding radiation frequencies in the air. Hence, they suppress each other or cancel each other out together. Now, when we say cancelling each other out means neutralize, okay, meaning within that area itself, if let's say there is a frequency of 108 megahertz, and when the cancellation frequency goes up at that range to address that issue, meaning in that space itself, there is a neutralization achieved, meaning there's no more noise frequency within that particular frequency range itself. Okay, so this is typically how it works. Now, this is just to show you that, the developer actually bring this technology to test, and this is some years ago. And I want to show you that from a test laboratory point of view, what is the graph, or how does the graph looks like before and after turning on the technology? Okay, now we are all not very technical guys here, we're not engineers, but I'm trying to just show you this graph and to allow you to understand that, scientifically, how this thing actually, brings down the electrical intensity. Now, just a few key points. Can you see my mouse here moving from the screen? Okay, all right. Now, if you see the 30 here, The bar below from 30 to 1000, now this represents the frequency in megahertz. Okay, and this is actually within the emGuarde's effective range between 3 to 1000. Okay, so this is 30 to 1000. All right, so this is before turning on the emGuarde, and as you can see, the electric field intensity or the frequency, it's constant all the way to 1000 megahertz. Okay, it's constant. Now, when we turn on the technology, this is what happens. This is again the same graph. As you can see, the graph pattern changes from this to this. Okay, same frequency range between 30 to 1000. But what you see here is after turning on the emGuarde technology, the electric field intensity, instead of going here like this, constant, now it is actually being broken into a few peaks. That's it. Okay, and there is this intermittent disconnection from the frequency pattern, as you can see from this chart itself. Okay, so this is how effective the technology is. There you go, before and after. Let me show you the comparison chart, before and after. Okay, so from here, for those who are new in this project, now you understand that why during the demonstration, when we turn on the technology, we can actually achieve this neutralization process. It's actually through this suppression, okay, method. All right, let's move on. Now, besides that laboratory graph and also, what we have from the patent and stuff like that, now we have this video made for you. And this particular third-party software, again, is there to verify or to do a further verification on the emGuarde's functionality. Okay, let's watch this video to gain more understanding. Therefore, in this section of the video, I'm going to show you how the emGuarde technology has the ability to alleviate the noise field radiation created by this LED light bulb, and it can clearly shown from the software-defined radio frequency spectrum. Okay, now before I hook on the emGuarde to the power source, let me just redo this on the spectrum of SDR. Okay, now when I turn on the LED light bulb, as you can see, obviously the wavy line from the noise field comes back. Okay, now when I power on the emGuarde onto the power source like this, just to show you that the emGuarde is on, there is a white light blinking here. Okay, there you go. So now the emGuarde is on, and immediately you can actually see that the wavy line from the SDR disappeared. Now, as soon as I remove the power source of the emGuarde, the radiation reading picking up from the antenna immediately returns to the SDR screen. Therefore, I'm going to do another control test by showing you by again powering up the emGuarde again. Power on. So this is how the emGuarde technology alleviates the power density radiation reading based on the simple software-defined radio experiment. Okay, so basically this video is just to show you, in a more scientific manner, how this thing actually suppresses the noise spectrum from the waterfall spectrum, okay, from this particular software. You can get this video, it's together with the slide itself. We built it together with the slide, so you can download it through the Google Drive link we're going to provide later. Okay, now let's move on. All right, now we have actually come to the third back to basic question, okay? Now in this particular segment, I'm here to explain to you on what is the benefit of using the emGuarde. Now this is very important because when your customer buy a technology, they want to know, besides reducing the radiation, how does it actually benefit the family or themselves in return? Okay, so now to explain to you, the entire emGuarde technology is actually built based on Dr. Magda Haver's research. So Dr. Magda Havers, it's a PhD doctor from Canada. Okay, so he actually devoted his life to research into how this EMR, electromagnetic radiation, affects the human in terms of biological sense. Now, from her research, shockingly, she found out that whenever our red blood cell is in a healthy, clean EMR environment, the hemoglobin or the red blood cell is like this. It flows freely like a donut shape. Okay? So what she did was, she did an experiment to herself at first. She was exposing herself to 70 minutes of desktop or computer usage. And then right after that, she pricked her own finger and drew some of the blood samples, and this is what she discovered under the microscope lens. Okay? She discovered that her red blood cell goes into this condition, and according to her, this is called the Rouleaux formation. Okay, it's a medical term meaning your red blood cell is actually stacking up to each other, so it gets thicker in that sense. Now, to her surprise, after 10 minutes of wireless phone use, she discovered that the Rouleaux formation goes into a critical Rouleaux formation. This is the scenario on the right-hand side where my mouse is pointing towards here. Okay, so this is a critical Rouleaux formation, and according to Dr. Magda Haver's explanation in his or in her YouTube videos, this particular formation is what she normally sees in her cancer patient's blood or her diabetic patient's blood. Okay, now I want all of you here to focus on the yellow highlighted points here. Rouleau formation will then lead to certain symptoms or consequences. Okay, for example, poor circulation. So this explains why sometimes we feel numbness on our finger whenever we hold on to a cell phone for too long. Okay, now anyone of you here have actually experienced this when you hold your hair dryer, not just cell phone, but your hair dryer. Okay, for those ladies with long hair, super long hair. Okay, so you're holding this hair dryer and you need to dry your hair and you need to do at least more than 5 minutes. Am I correct? Okay, now after blowing your hair, you can actually feel that particular palm itself, holding the hair dryer, you can actually feel that there is this numbness, okay, going on from your right palm itself. So this is actually due to Rouleaux formation caused by the EMR exposure. Okay, now when the blood goes into poor circulation, it will then lead to low oxygen transports at the same time. Okay, low oxygen transports at the same time. So this is the cause of the problem or lack of oxygen in the cell. Okay, now I'm here to show you, this is just one of the description made available in the patent description. So emGuarde helps improving microcirculation by suppressing and cancelling the negative effects. Now from here, I've just like to make a disclaimer. There is no wordings like emGuarde on the patent description itself. We add this in to create more clarity. Okay, so in the patent itself, it is described as the apparatus, okay, or the equipment. Okay, so the apparatus helps improving microcirculation by suppressing and cancelling the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation from cellular phones and computers connected to the wireless network. Okay, so this is actually a description made available in the patent, and this is the exact screenshot from the patent itself when the developers submit this. Okay, so I want all of you here to focus on here, the last paragraph where my pointers are. Okay, this is the last paragraph. So in the patent statement, it states that it can therefore be summarized that the invention can effectively suppress the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation on microcirculation from either handheld cellular device or computers connected to wireless network. Meaning this technology can effectively resolve Dr. Magda Haver's findings on EMR has the ability to cause the Rouleaux formation, hence leading to poor circulation and low oxygen transport to the cell. So by applying emGuarde, when we suppress the EM radiation, which is the negative effects of the electromagnetic radiation, we can then help the customers to improve their microcirculation blood flow. Okay, now listening to me alone is not enough because I'm not a medical doctor. Let's listen to someone who has got a medical authority and he has actually did a real clinical trial, on real human. So Dr. Liuren Jie, it's a Taiwanese ophthalmology. He's an eye doctor. Okay, he has got his clinics in Taiwan and he's doing this, full time. And what happens is that that back in 2020, which is during the COVID year, Dr. Liu Rinjie took this technology and he did further research. He called it a clinical trial on his 10 subjects. Now, let me just make it very clear to you that, now these 10 subjects of his, they are in healthy condition and their age range, it's between 19 years old all the way to 68 years old. Okay, so male and female, mixture of male and female. So these 10 subjects, he took it in to actually run through and to test out Dr. McDowell's theory. And also at the same time, he turned on the emGuarde technology and to also verify that does it really help improve the microcirculation after suppressing the EM radiation. Okay, so stage 1, I want you to focus on my cursor here. So during the first stage testing, as you can see, all of his 10 subject samples, n equals to 10, okay, and this is actually the mean, which is the average microcirculation of the eyeball, okay, because he's the eye doctor. So he's actually testing out based on the eyeball microcirculation speed. And this is what he got. This is the result, 20.1 centimeter per second. This is the measurement unit, okay? So this is the average eyeball microcirculation speed he got from all his 10 subjects. Now, stage 2 is where he invite all of his subjects, which is 10 subjects, to use their mobile phone or to watch the mobile phone for at least 30 minutes. Okay? After that, he take another reading, and shockingly, he found out that the average microcirculation for all the eyeball from his 10 subject dropped from 20.1 to about 16.2. So it's very close to about 25% of slowing down, okay, from this particular test. Then, third stage, as you can see, after he turns on the technology and alleviates electromagnetic radiation below 1 gigahertz, which is exactly the effective range of the emGuarde, he found out that the average blood flow for all his subjects actually increases from 16.2 to 25.9. Okay, so this clinical trial can effectively tell the audience that after turning on the emGuarde technology and through the technology of suppression of electromagnetic radiation, it has the ability to help improve the microcirculation of the eyeball. Okay, so this is one of the documentations that we can use during our sharing session with our friends and family. Okay, now up to this point, I would like to take a quick break of, let's say, a 2-minute water break. Okay, we can all have our Kangen water. And for those people who wants to go to the toilet, we can use the toilet now. And we will be right back. Okay, now let's look at the time. So now it's 11:45. So we will start or resume the session at 11:48 sharp. All right, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, welcome back everyone. I think we have a lot to cover. I hope that you guys have a good toilet break and a Kangen water break. It's 11:49 now. Okay, are you guys ready to resume the training? If you're ready, can I see a number 3 in your chat box so that I can resume the training? Thank you so much for your responses. Okay. All right, seems like all of you are back from a quick toilet break. All right, let's resume the training. So now the next topic here, it's commonly asked question. We've got a series of commonly asked questions by the customers, and these are the common FAQs like the product specifications, the coverage range and all that. But in this intensive training, we won't be addressing the simple question because all these questions you can actually refer to the normal slides that we're going to upload, on the library itself. Okay, so over here, the commonly asked questions from customers, I'm going to address 3 of the most, I would say, technical questions so that you will have knowledge on how to sort of counter this, okay, when you are being asked by a more technical customer. So all of you here, we know that we are using this very special equipment, which is the RD9100, to measure the radiation. But what is RD9100 actually measuring? Okay, now for the common folks out there, you just say that this thing is used to measure radiation. But in fact, in the market itself, there is a lot of different detectors measuring radiation from different spectrum. Okay, so in this training, I'm going to address, just in case some of you're actually facing problem because some of you might be purchasing some other radiation, so-called radiation detectors from Lazada, Shopee, or maybe some of your customers, they're already using some of these detectors, okay? Now, the common detectors out there, these are the few categories that we are listing down, okay? Now, there is one type of detectors out there, which is actually measuring the field, which is the electric field or the magnetic field, okay? So as long as your power source is connected to electricity, as long as there's electricity running through your devices, that particular detector will generate certain reading, okay? So the first category is called electric field and magnetic field detectors, and this detector is built to measure the radiation from the electrical source, okay? Now, the second category of detectors used is what we call as the signal detector. Okay, so this detector is actually built to detect the signal strength from either your router, those equipments which we're using antenna. For example, your cell phone. Okay, there is antenna in your cell phone. Your Wi-Fi router, there is antenna in your Wi-Fi router. So this particular detector is built to receive the energy reading from the signal itself. Okay, and we found out that, ironically, there's another detector out there which is sensitive towards metal parts. For example, let's say your phone has got a lot of these metal parts or metal parts components within the PCB board. Now that particular detector is going to make certain reading, or it's going to generate some readings from the screen itself, okay? So in this particular video, we are here to sort of like to educate or to share with you what is RD90 measuring, okay? So now, when you see that there is this digital figure going through the screen itself, okay? So this digital figure, it's actually a measurement unit, okay? It is called microwatts. So microwatts is actually the meaning of the numbers, okay? So when you see 1,800, it's fluctuating from 1,000 to 1,500. Now this reading, the unit itself is in microwatts, okay? And it's in square centimeter, so that's the range or density range or sensitivity range for this particular detector, okay? So microwatts represents power density of electromagnetic radiation. It is a power reading. So the higher the microwatts means the higher the power density of the radiation is from the particular source. It's that simple. Sometimes when you measure the room and it shows you 0, meaning the airspace around the room has got 0 power density, meaning it's clean, okay? But sometimes when you go around the room and you can see that the meter is fluctuating between 300 to about 1200, so meaning that in that particular area, okay, there is power density of electromagnetic radiation detected within the area, okay? So now during the demonstration, we are using 2 dot instead of 1 dot, okay? And what is the function of 2 dot? 2 dot is basically the frequency range. Okay, you can set. 1 dot is measure 50, 60 hertz. This is very low radiation. Okay, very, very low frequency radiation. And usually we are not emphasizing on addressing this because this radiation, they will not penetrate, through your skin. Okay, your skin has got the ability to block it. So we are not addressing the 1 dot radiation. We are addressing the 2 dot instead because this higher frequency radiation has got the capability to penetrate through your skin. Hence, it is actually going through your bones, your cells, and it's going to affect your DNA over time. All right? So the 2 dot technical name is, it's there to measure high frequency electromagnetic noise radiation. So this is the exact factual word for this function. Okay, it's there to measure the high frequency electromagnetic noise within 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. So this is the measurement range. Now, do you guys notice something? The measurement range is actually similar to the effective range of the emGuarde itself. Okay, so if let's say you're encountering problem like customer asking you, how come, some detectors, when we buy out there, when we turn on the emGuarde, you can still see that there is this power reading. Okay, so there's only 2 reasons. Okay, the first reason is that their detector is actually measuring a different power density source. It's either from the signal or from the electric field or the magnetic field from the power source itself. That's the reason why when we turn on the emGuarde, you're still seeing that these detectors, they're still having reading. It's because emGuarde is not built to cut off the signal. Okay, no, we can't do that because it's illegal. And emGuarde is not built to cut off the power source, which is the electricity from your TV box. Again, so far there's no technology that in the market that has the ability to do that. So that's the reason why when you buy the common detectors out there, which is measuring either the signal or the electric field, you are still seeing that these detectors, they are still showing you some readings on the screen itself because it's measuring different things. Okay, now as for the RD-00, it is built specifically to detect high frequency electromagnetic noise. And the effective range or the measuring range, it's similar to the effective range of the emGuarde itself. That's the reason why you can achieve this contrast during the demonstration. So far, so good. I hope I made myself clear, okay, in this particular explanation. Now, let's take a look at this video. And in this video, we can clearly show you that, this particular radiation detector, it's able to pick up this high frequency electromagnetic noise as compared to the other common detectors out there. So we're doing 2 comparisons. One is the common detector out there where you can buy it for about 60 ringgit, very cheap. And another one is this particular RD, which is as good as the ORP meter from American Marine that you're using. It is so good that it is able to pick up certain things that the other detector cannot pick up. Okay, so let's take a look at this video. Now in this quick demo, what I have here is a conventional filament light bulb. Okay, let's play the video again. Now in this quick demo, what I have here is a conventional filament light bulb. And let me show you what I mean by this detector is only measuring the magnetic field from the electric current rather than radiation radiated from the light bulb. Now, as I turn on the switch, as you can see, this detector is actually picking up about 300 power density reading from the socket itself. Okay, Now, when I turn on the RD9100, as you can see, obviously, I'm trying to go around the light bulb, just go all the way in, as you can see, and RD shows the reading 0. Okay, means RD is not picking up any radiation reading as compared to this detector. Alright, now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch this light bulb into the LED light bulb. This is energy saving, and this is supposed to radiate more radiation compared to the conventional filament light bulb. Let me show you what I mean. So usually the LED light bulb is a bit more glaring, and as I turn this on, as you can see, it's very bright. Now this detector, it's also picking up reading from the light bulb. Okay, as you can see, there is no difference. As for RD, earlier on during the filament light bulb test, there is no reading, but as for this one, RD is actually picking up reading of about 1. Okay, that represents 2000 microwatts. Okay, so it's overloading. Okay, so in this simple video, you can clearly see that RD900 is measuring the power density of the radiation instead of low frequency magnetic field from electric current. Okay, so a lot of common detectors out there, they are built to measure electric current. As long as you turn on the current, there is electricity, it picks up certain reading. It's like the test pen. Remember the test pen? There is this particular screwdriver, a mini one, with a red LED light. So whenever you put the test pen close to a power line, it shows you certain lights or this LED flashing. Okay, so it's like a test pen. It's there to identify that this particular power line has got electric current. But whether is it radiation or not, okay, so RD can specifically show you the differences. Okay, whether does it generate high frequency electromagnetic noise, which allows the radiation energy to come out from the light bulb itself. So that makes the difference, okay, between the detectors. So why do we suggest using RD900 instead of other detectors in the market? Okay, let's take a look at the following video. And I'm going to make different comparisons of all the detectors I've bought or accumulated from the market for you, so that you don't have to go through that process of doing the wrong investments to do your demonstration. Let's take a look at the next video. Okay, so in this section of the video, I'm going to show you the differentiation from different detectors available in the market, and why some of these detectors you should avoid it while you're using it to do the emGuarde demo. Now, cheaper detectors like this, it says electromagnetic radiation detector, but when you hook this meter on, you can't even detect the radiation from a phone screen. So this doesn't work, because this detector is only used to measure very low frequency radiation from the power socket. Okay. Now, another type of detector available in the market, electromagnetic field tester. Now, this detector, we found out that this detector is only good at reading the signal coming in from the 4G or the Wi-Fi. Let me show you what I mean. Let me activate the meter here, and I wanted to put this meter below the iPhone. Okay. As soon as I call up a program from the iPhone, for example, I'm going to turn on the YouTube channel. There you go. So now the detector is actually responding to the data received from the YouTube itself. Now, as soon as I turn this phone into the airplane mode, so I'm going to terminate the Wi-Fi and also the mobile data. Okay, so immediately when I turn it to the airplane mode, as you can see, you no longer receive any response from this detector. Okay, now however, as soon as I switch off the airplane mode and the data is back, the detector began to respond again to the signal from the phone. Now, why I strongly recommended RD9100 is because now even if I turn the phone into the airplane mode, means there's no data, there is no Wi-Fi,
David, there's no sound, David. There's no sound coming on.
Okay, let me just do some quick troubleshooting. This detector is what we bought from the USA and it's called the Sam, are you hearing the...
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Hold on, hold on. Okay, so in this section of the video, I'm going to show you the differentiation from different detector available in the market and why some of these detectors you should avoid it while you're using it to do the emGuarde demo. Now, cheaper detectors like this, it says electromagnetic radiation detector, but when you hook this emitter on, you can't even detect the radiation from a phone screen. So this doesn't work because this detector is only used to measure very low frequency radiation from the power socket. Okay, now another type of detector available in the market, electromagnetic field tester. Now this detector, we found out that this detector is only good at reading the signal coming in from the 4G or the Wi-Fi. Let me show you what I mean. Let me activate the meter here, and I want to put this meter below the iPhone. Okay, now as soon as I call up a program from the iPhone, for example, I'm going to turn on the YouTube channel. There you go. So now the detector is actually responding to the data received from the YouTube itself. Now, as soon as I turn this phone into the airplane mode, so I'm going to terminate the Wi-Fi and also the mobile data. Okay, so immediately when I turn it to the airplane mode, as you can see, you no longer receive any response from this detector. Okay, now however, as soon as I switch off the airplane mode and the data is back, the detector began to respond again to the signal from the phone. Now, why I strongly recommended RD9100 is because now even if I turn the phone into the airplane mode, means there is no data, there is no Wi-Fi, the RD has ability to pick up the radiation from the phone itself, and now it's averaging at about 1,400 microwatts to about 1,500 microwatts. Okay, so in other words, RD9100 is not picking up any signal. Instead, RD9100 is actually picking up the power density radiation coming from the battery, okay, operated in the phone itself. Now, let me show you another detector in the market. This detector is what we bought from the USA and it's called the cell sensor. And supposedly this detector is able to pick up radiation from the cell phone. Okay, but now as soon as I hook up this meter, as you can see, okay, let me just put the meter on the table. Now, the phone is on airplane mode. As you can see, it's also picking up reading from the screen itself. Okay, now, but the thing is, we found that this detector is actually picking up and responding or reacting towards the metal part of the phone. Now, I'm going to turn off the phone. Okay, let me switch off the phone now. And let me show you what I mean. Now, as soon as the phone is switched off, if I use the regular RD, once the integrated circuit is completely shut down, the RD will get 0 reading because there is no more radiation source coming from this phone. Okay, because it's properly shut off and there is no power in the circuit itself. So everything goes back to 0. Okay, there you go. Alright, now, but for this detector itself, although the phone's already been shut off, you can still pick up reading from the phone itself. Now, the reason being is because detectors like this, they're actually picking up and sensing the metal parts from the handphone. For example, now in this handphone cover, there is one metal piece over here. As long as I put this into the metal, the detector is reacting against the metal but not the radiation. Okay? Alright. Okay, hopefully through this video, everyone has got a better understanding on, the different detectors which is available in the market, and some of our customers, they might be asking about these detectors, and at the same time, you will have a very clear understanding and knowledge on how you can address, these issues. Okay, now we have come to the last commonly asked question, and this is, I find this technical. That's the reason why I choose to share this during the intensive training. Okay, now there is a lot of smart people out there, and they understand how the frequency bandwidth works. For example, they're telling you that, hey, come on, Jesse, the Wi-Fi router is working between 2.4 gigahertz all the way to 5 gigahertz. So that's the bandwidth used in the Wi-Fi router. Well, what about 5G? 5G is currently operating between 20 gigahertz all the way up to about 60 gigahertz. And this frequency bandwidth, they are way beyond the emGuarde's coverage or effective range. So why do we still need emGuarde when emGuarde does not have the ability to cover you or to protect you on the higher frequencies? Okay, so this is actually one of the most commonly or more challenging questions posted by people who read a lot and they understand how the frequency bandwidth works. So this particular section is where you want to take notes, and this is how exactly you need to understand and how you can address this by using whatever I have for you here today. Okay, so why emGuarde harmonizes frequencies of 1 gigahertz and below? Simple reason. Okay, now we got this bulletin from the Federal Communication Commission. It's the FCC. It's a government body in the United States of America. And in this bulletin itself, okay, in one of the page, it's actually in page, this is page number 8 from the bulletin itself, okay? Now, I want all of you here to focus on the yellow highlighted points before I make my next point, okay? So the first point you need to understand is that based on the FCC's regulation, okay, now they stated that exposure limits are also based on data showing that the human body absorbs radio frequency energy at some frequencies more efficiently than at others. Okay, so I want all of you here to understand the first statement here. Okay, so from this bulletin, we understand that our human body tends to absorb the radio frequency energy at some frequencies more efficiently than others, meaning at certain frequencies, we are built to absorb more energies. And what is the frequency stated here? Okay, they say that the most restrictive limits occur in the frequency range between 30 to 300 megahertz, okay, where whole body absorption of radio frequency energy by human being is most efficient. Okay, let me repeat myself. They state here that between 30 to 300 megahertz, okay, so this is the specific frequency range, where whole body absorption of radio frequency energy by human, which is you and I, being is most efficient. So meaning if let's say there is frequencies, radio frequencies, okay, radiated out at this range between 30 to 300, we as a human body, we are absorbing the energy at its peak, okay, most efficiently. So this is what it meant by this particular statement by FCC. Okay, now from here, we can take a look at the final or the last line here. It says that at other frequencies, meaning at other frequencies, it could be frequencies below 30 megahertz or frequencies above 300 megahertz. Okay, so it says here that at other frequencies, whole body absorption is less efficient, meaning we has ability to sort of like absorb more efficiently at between 30 to 300, and at other frequencies, our absorption is less efficient. And the reason being is because our skin has got this mechanism and we are built to defend certain frequencies, like the higher frequencies. Okay, it only touches your skin and either absorb at a very minute level, depth level, and then it reflects out. Okay, so your skin is actually a defense mechanism for you to defend either a higher frequency or a lower frequency. Okay, so now in this research, I'm going to link, okay, these two together. So between 30 to 300, it is actually set as the most restrictive limits because according to FCC, we absorb the radio frequency energy at its peak or most efficiently between this. And the reason why is because, now based on this article, we can understand that the aggregate human body organ frequency, it's actually between 55 all the way to 90 megahertz. For example, your brain frequency is operating at 72 to 90, your human body averaging at about 62 to 78. Okay, now for those people who understand the MRI technology, now for those people who don't understand what's MRI, MRI is actually a scan available in the hospital. Okay, it is called the magnetic resonance images. Okay, that's the full name for MRI. It's called the magnetic resonance imaging machine. So the MRI, it's actually working. If you Google what's the frequency range of the MRI machine, the MRI machine works at the very specific frequency of 64 megahertz, to be exact. Okay, and as you can see, 64 megahertz is actually within the human body's frequency range, which is between 62 to 78. That's the reason why the MRI is able to capture images of your internal organs, okay, based on an external hardware device, okay, because it's resonating with your internal organs, okay. So the heart frequency is 67 to 70. So these are the aggregate of your body frequencies. And from here, we understand that these frequencies between 55 to 90 is actually within the most restrictive limits set by the FCC, which is 30 to 300. Okay, now, the next video here will explain to you why resonance, which is items of the same frequency, will allow the other object to vibrate together at the same time, even without you touching, that particular object. So through resonance, we understand that, let's say there is a frequency that is resonating at the same wavelength or frequency to your internal body organs, it might have the ability to affect our being or our well-being. Okay, now I'm going to play this video first before I explain further. Okay, now for those people who miss out the video, because it's a very short video, I'm going to play again this very short video. And if you notice, right, the first tuning fork that the science teacher used is of a different frequency. Let me just go back to the screen here. Let me make some explanation. Now, this tuning fork here, okay, he's using 512 hertz. So it's different from the frequency tuning fork from this one with 2 ping pong balls. This is actually working at 440 hertz. So when the science teacher knocked on this tuning fork, because the frequency is different from here, so it's not affecting this tuning fork to vibrate at the same time, okay? But when he changed the tuning fork to the same frequency tuning fork, so it actually allows the ping pong ball here to vibrate, even though he's not even touching this, okay? So this is like, through airborne transmission vibration. Okay, let me play the video again. Same frequency tuning fork. There you go. So this actually explains why sometimes when we go into a cyber cafe, those cafe with a lot of computers operating at the same time, why some people, you spend time in front of a computer or in an office, you're experiencing this unexplainable headache, because your normal brain frequency is actually operating within 72 megahertz to 90. And just imagine that, if let's say there is radiation showering from the plaster ceiling or from the computer, and it is within this range. So this frequency is actually resonating with your brain frequency. And this could be the reason why some people, they are feeling uncomfortable in front of computers after spending long hours in front of the computers and also in front of different gadgets that they're using, okay? And through the resonance theory, we can then explain to you that this is the scenario, okay? Now, before I conclude this session, I'm going to play another video, which I did not put into this training slide. And this particular video is what I took back in my stay in Penang. And we realized that at 72 megahertz, this is the frequencies that we managed to capture. And I'm not going to do the explanation. And for those people who came into this training today, this video is a bonus, okay, for those people who stay on. And this particular video will explain to you why am I developing this unexplainable headache and what we discover in this particular Airbnb in Penang. Okay, let's take a look at the video. Okay guys, this is something pretty shocking. We rented this Airbnb and I started to experience this unexplainable headache whenever I go near to the kitchen and prepare the food. So what happened was we got this gadget here. So remember I always say that our human body organs aggregate frequency is around 55 to 90, and we found that 72 is actually the brain frequency. So I'm going to hook up the software here to identify what causes my headache, because 72 is actually the frequency of your brain. So over here in this setting, we got two LED lights, one above us, another one is actually the small one over here. The switches are over there. Okay, the switches are over there. So let me turn on the first switch of the LED, and I want you to see the noise spectrum from the LED lights. The first light. As I turn on the first LED light, as you can see, the noise spectrum came in at 72 megahertz, and the flux itself stretches from 72 all the way to about 72.3 and all the way down to about 73 megahertz. Okay, this is the first LED. And if I turn on the second LED above my head, which is the top one, I want you to see that the noise field spectrum actually goes into a darker color. Okay, so let me show you the LED. This is the first one. Okay, this is the first LED, and I got my antenna right above, and the second LED is actually above my head. And as you can see, the spectrum here, the noise became darker and darker. So what happens is that I pull out my emGuarde and I just put my emGuarde next to the kitchen, and I want you to see what happens when I turn on my emGuarde. After I took on my emGuarde, and immediately the headache just went away. Alright, so what happens when I turn off my emGuarde again? I'll just want you to see the contrast. Switch off the emGuarde again. And when my emGuarde is off, immediately the noise wave from 72 megahertz came back. And this explains why I'm getting this unexplainable headache, because 72 is actually resonating with my brain frequency, and that's why I'm getting this headache. Let me just turn back on the emGuarde. Okay, so it's pretty amazing. So thanks emGuarde, thank you so much for allowing us to own this technology to protect ourselves. Okay, I always believe that a picture paints 1,000 words. And through this very simple explanation that we have compiled, I dearly hope that all of you here, you have gained massive value, and also to gain more confidence in terms of marketing this particular technology, because first of all, this technology segment, it is proven, and we have actually run through a series of tests for the past 6 years, and this is amazing. And I truly hope that this material, when you grab hold of this, you can do a quick revision. And okay, all right. Anyone here, you are still energetic? I mean, you still have energy, or you're still attentive after? Okay, how long have you been? We've been doing. Okay, been running training for about 1 hour now. Okay, so if you're ready for the next session, maybe I can see digit 8 from your chat box, so that we can proceed with our next chapter. Okay, can I see the responses from the chat box? Wow, 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 look at all these responses, amazing. You guys are champions, okay? You guys are built to achieve success in life. Very good. Thank you so much for all your responses. Okay, so now I'm going to take a quick rest before I come back to address some of your questions from the market. And I'm going to pass this time or this section to my colleague, and they're going to explain to you some of the tips of the installation of the emGuarde and also some of the demo tips that we've been accumulating for the past years. Okay, so let's welcome Ming, and Ming will then take over my chair. Let's welcome Ming. Hi everyone, I'm Ming. Okay, we have a very great session from David. And now on this session, I'm going to share with you all what is the do and don'ts for installing emGuarde or when you're doing emGuarde. Okay, before I go further, can I see how many of you already start doing demo? If you all already start doing demo, can you all type 10 in the chat box? Okay, there's a lot of you already start doing demo. Okay, now let me go to the first tips that I'm going to share with you all. First of all, if you all go to your customer house and try to hook up an emGuarde and do a demo, try to take note on the extension socket. It's because emGuarde needs a very consistent of supplying power to use it. So when you see an external socket, it's not that you cannot use the external socket. It's just that maybe sometime your customer external socket, there's some other plugs on it. And when there's some other plugs on it and you plug on emGuarde onto the external socket, sometimes it will affect the range or also the function of the emGuarde. So we give, what the tips is that try to use a single power socket like what is showing on the picture on the right hand side. If there's no choice, if you want to use an extension socket, also take note that the extension socket must not be shared with other appliances. If can, remove them and then you plug in emGuarde and then do a demo. Next is about the adapter that we are using for the emGuarde. Try to look for the adapter with a one single output, like what the right hand side picture shows you. For the output is 5V, 2 ampere up to 6 ampere. You can use this adapter to power up your emGuarde. Compared to the left hand side is a multiple output adapter, which I would say that they have a supply of 9V, 12V, 4.5V, and 5V. So why we are not suggesting you to use this is because the power supply sometime from this multiple adapter is not very stable. So that's the reason why sometimes it will affect your emGuarde as well. So please take note, if can, try to find a single output adapter. Next is also the same, is about the adapter. Try to find a one USB output adapter is because due to sometimes when you go to customer house at time, you're not sure that whether your customer multiple output, whether they use it for other purposes or not. Sometimes they use it for charging their phones and this and that, and then you plug in emGuarde to the multiple USB output. And that's the reason why sometimes you will get inconsistent of power supply, and hence it will affect the function of the emGuarde as well. So it's not that you cannot use it, it's just that you need to take note and make sure that it's not used for other purposes also. Okay, next one is about the USB-C cable. If you take a really close comparison between
the one that came with the emGuarde and also the normal USB-C Type-C, right? You will notice that our USB-C cable provided inside the emGuarde is slightly longer compared to the normal Type-C that you are having in your house. It's because this is specially designed to fit more into the emGuarde, and it will make it more stable inside the emGuarde. So sometimes if you go to your customer house, you use their Type-C cable, you'll notice that sometimes when you plug in, the time is a bit of loose, like why I cannot really plug into the emGuarde. It's because of the Type-C cable. For the normal conventional Type-C cable is slightly shorter compared to the one that we have inside the emGuarde box. So always remember to use the USB-C cable that provided inside the emGuarde box itself. Okay, next is about electrostatic environment. There's two places that we need to take note when we go to customer house and do demo. Okay, the first one is about a big mirror, a refraction mirror. Okay, sometimes if you put emGuarde in front of the mirror, it will somehow reflect our emGuarde function, and hence at the back of the mirror, sometimes you won't be getting any coverage. It's because of the big mirror refraction. So if can, try to avoid putting emGuarde in front of the big mirror. You can put behind or at the side or just somewhere else, but try to avoid putting your emGuarde in front of the big mirror. The second one is aluminum frame. Like if you put your emGuarde very near to aluminum frame, it will somehow affect emGuarde functionality. It's due to the aluminum frame or the metal always have this static accumulation. And when there's a static accumulation, that time it will slightly affect the emGuarde's coverage or function. So this is the two places that you need to take note when doing installation or when you're doing demo in your customer house. The third one is also about electrostatic environment. When you want to turn off or you want to plug in the emGuarde or you want to install the emGuarde that time, try not to put to this kind of places. As you can see, there's a lot of computers, there's a lot of wirings all around, this and that. So this table actually collect a lot of static around on the table itself. So if you plug your emGuarde on this table itself, it will also affect the functionality of the emGuarde or even the range of the emGuarde. It's due to there's a lot of static on this table. So what you can do is that we suggest you to put somewhere else, like in another room or somewhere with a clearer table that don't have so much of these computers around. Same goes to this area. Try not to put your emGuarde on top of all the wirings. It's because all the wirings, right, they have somehow like accumulated those static around also. So try not to put your emGuarde on all the wirings around. Try to put it somewhere clearer. Okay, for the floor also the same. Try not to avoid putting emGuarde directly on top of the floor, because sometimes our flooring will accumulate static as well. So because we can't see where's the static, so when sometimes you accidentally place emGuarde on top of the static area on the floor, it will also affect emGuarde. So what we recommend you is that try to put emGuarde on top of the emGuarde box itself. So the emGuarde box is made with a paper kind of material, so it won't easily collect static charges. So try to place your emGuarde on top of the emGuarde box. And there's no any difference between you're putting your emGuarde horizontally or vertically. It's the same. The function is the same as well. So there's no any difference between putting like that and like that, yeah? Okay, next, we're going to show you a video on how the static will affect the emGuarde.
OK，现在我要跟你们解释一个典型的静电的这个问题。所以每次你看到你做 demo 的时候呢，emGuarde 是 within 4个米哈，你看它的那个距离呢。可是 detector 响了，你们不要太过紧张，为什么呢？因为我的脚现在看着的这个地方呢是有静电的，所以我们人是导电体嘛，我们会 absorb 那个静电，然后导致到 detector 它响。可是你看啊，我做一个小小举动，我现在呢，我把我的脚移位啊 ，OK， 同一个地方，我的电话跟 detector 在同一个地方，我只是稍微的 adjust 一下我自己的身体移位，你注意看。当这个地方没有静电的时候呢，它就没有事情 ，OK。可是我回去有静电的地方呢，你注意看，看到吗 ？OK， 这个地方有静电吗 ？Go， 我移一下去一个没有静电的地方，你注意看 ，detector 它就没有响了 ，OK。所以这个是一个典型的解释，要跟你说，其实呢，有时候我们做的 emGuarde 它是within 4个米的，它会响的。emGuarde 其实是有功能，只是有可能那个地板上面有静电，它会导致到 detector 它一下子会读到那个静电的 reading，OK。
Okay, as you can see from this video, right, and static is not only will affect the functionality of the emGuarde, and it will also affect the functionality of the detector as well. So as you can see from what David's position, just now David is standing on top of the area, the floor that is having static. So our human body is a very good conductor that it will absorb static into our body. That's the reason why when David stand on the particular place that time, it will affect the detector function as well because the body already absorbed the static. Hence, that's the reason why your detector will like go beeping. Okay, so this is where you can take note also. Sometimes when you go to customer house that time, when you're doing demo using the detector, some of the area it will beep even though you turn on the emGuarde. So try to not be panic at that moment of time. Try to just move away, or maybe you step to another place and take a look again, because sometimes it's due to static charges on the floor that your body absorb up. That's the reason why the detector is still beeping. So try to change the position like what David has done just now, and then the detector will be okay. It's not that the emGuarde there's no function on the emGuarde. It's just that the flooring of static that affects the detector.
OK，现在我要跟你们解释一个。
Okay, this video will clearly show you that how static will affect the range of your detector checking as well. So you can see from the video.
Hi guys, so in this video, we will be explaining how static affects sensitive equipment like the Audi. So now, I'm going to use the Audi to scan the phone, as you can see. So it's picking up radiation reading. But as soon as I turn on the emGuarde, as you can see, the white LED light is on. So the radiation is gone, okay? So I'm going to move all the way back just to show you that emGuarde can actually cover up to that range, okay? It's further away from the table. So what we are going to do next is we're going to turn on the static ball. And as soon as I turn on the static ball, I'm going to show you that, you know, the static, it's able to trigger the RD to beep. Okay, so once I scan the phone and I go near to the static ball, the RD 9100 begins to beep again, although it is within the coverage range of the emGuarde. Okay, it's very near, it's less than 1 meter. But as soon as I move away from the static ball, as you can see, the radiation detector stops beeping because emGuarde still function. It's just that whenever we go near to a static area, the RD9100 will get affected by the static and it begins to beep again. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off the static ball. So now the area is without electrostatic, as you can see. And as I scan the phone again, there is no beeping. So during your demonstration, don't get panicked. Whenever there is a beeping sound here and there, it is actually due to electrostatic, but your emGuarde is still working fine.
All right, so this is where we need to take note when we go to customer house to do demo. Electrostatic not only will affect, sometimes will affect the range of the emGuarde, it will also affect the detector as well. So from this video, just now we show you, when the detector is near to a static area, the detector start beeping. Not because of emGuarde functioning, not because of emGuarde is there's no function at there. It's just that the static affects the detector. That's why that's the reason why the detector is still beeping. So when David just now take the detector, go to a bit further away from the static environment that time, the detector became quiet. So the emGuarde function is at there and it's due to static. That's the reason why the detector is beeping. Okay, next we go into a demonstration experience. When a customer have one or more emGuarde installed in his house, what is the correct way to check on the emGuarde range? Is that try to turn off all the emGuarde, check the emGuarde range one by one. So let's, for example, the customer has two emGuarde, one in his living room, another one in his second floor bedroom. So how are you going to check on the emGuarde range effectively is that turn off both unit, turn on one unit first. Like for example, if you can turn on the living room unit first, check on the range, everything. After that, okay already, turn off the living room emGuarde, go to the second floor, turn on the bedroom emGuarde, and then check again the range. This is the correct way to check on the effective range of the emGuarde. The reason is because of when there's two emGuarde together that time, it will sometimes interfere or affect the detector reading. So that's the reason why we suggest you to check one by one on the emGuarde range. Okay, next is that how you hold your detector, okay? Because the detector, there's a lot of copper coil on the ring itself. Try to avoid holding your detector near to the copper coil. It's because of the copper coil is a very sensitive thing, and sometimes your hand, you have a sweat palm, and you hold it there, and it will also affect the copper coil to be oxidized. And sometimes because our body is a very good conductor, if we hold on the copper coil itself, it will sometimes beep here and there. So try to avoid holding on the copper coil itself. The correct way should be on the last one, to hold at the side of the detector. So try to avoid the incorrect way of holding the detector, yeah? Okay, next is how to keep your detector well, or how to protect your detector. Because for this detector, this is a very sensitive item, so you need to take extra careful on how to store your detector. Every time if you take note on the detector cover, right? When you open up the detector box, inside there's always come with a PE bag. Okay, the PE bag inside there's have a silica gel inside. So every time once after you finish your demo, try to put back your RD detector back into the PE bag and make sure that there's a silica gel inside. It's because silica gel will absorb the moisture inside the PE bag, and hence it will protect your detector well. And try to store your detector in a normal room temperature area. And there's always people tends to forget after doing demo, they put their detector inside their car and then they went for lunch or park outside. And in the afternoon time, as we know, Malaysian our Malaysia weather, right? Sometimes will become very, very hot inside the car. And this is where your detector will get spoiled also. So remember, always bring your detector along, even if you want to park at the roadside at afternoon time. Try to bring your detector down with you, or put it somewhere else, not to put directly in your car. And the detector is not waterproof. So that's the reason why you need to take note on this point. It's because of the detector is not waterproof. So when you're doing demo at some moisture area, for example, on customer, we can say customer bathroom or even customer kitchen, try to avoid directly use the detector to go to the moisture area. What we can suggest you is that put inside the PE bag and then turn on the detector and then do scanning. So it's like something like that. Okay, you put inside the PE bag, seal the PE bag, and then turn on your detector and then scan like that at the moisture area, for example, bathroom. So this is where you protect your detector well. And there's no any different on the function. Even if you put inside the PE bag, it's still functioning well. So this is how you protect your emGuarde, is how you protect your detector, okay? And the next one is that when you see there's a battery icon pop up, beside the screen of the detector, it shows that you have done a lot of demo, and it's time for you to change a new battery. Okay, when the battery is low, that time your detector tends to become not very sensitive, so you will get readings like out of reading sometime. So we always suggest you to buy 2 or 3 spare battery and put inside the box, just in case sometimes if you see the battery icon suddenly pop up, you can change directly. So this you also need to take note now. Okay, and the battery that we suggest you to use is, the brand of the battery is that the GP green cell battery 9 volt, and also Panasonic 9 volt battery. My colleague will post the 2 battery brand in the chat box, so you can take a look. Try to buy 2 or 3 spare battery, put inside the box just in case. Okay, next is about positioning. When you're doing demo, how your body going to position. You try to position yourself by holding the detector and then point towards the emGuarde. Try to avoid your body face to the emGuarde, like the detector is in front and then your body and then the emGuarde is behind. It's because sometimes our body have some static and it will affect the readings of the emGuarde as well. So try to always face towards the emGuarde and then do checking on that. So this is the correct way for you to hold the detector. Okay, next we'll come to the last area, and it's about documentation. At this part, I'm going to pass back to David, and then David will explain to you on all our certificates and also our awards of the emGuarde. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Okay, we've come to the last part of today's training, and we're going to conclude the training by addressing some of the frequently asked questions. And I did my best to cover up some of the answers in the chat box, and my colleague's going to do the rest as I explain the final part of this documentation. So currently, we are still waiting for Emergic Japan to launch. So that's the sequence. They will launch it in emGuarde Japan because Malaysia is the first starting ground. And for all Malaysian distributors, you guys are very fortunate because emGuarde Japan decide to launch it first in Malaysia. Okay, because they need to give honor that this is a Malaysian built technology, and they're allowing the Malaysian distributors to first experience this emGuarde before they even launch it in their home country, which is in Japan. So upon launching in Japan, then they will then release all the so-called appropriate documentations for all the distributors worldwide. So now they are still compiling and they are still filtering on certain documentations that whether they can use it or not. But here, I'm here to share with you that within these documentations, this is some of the documentations that we have compiled, and this technology is not new. For those people who are new in the room, the R&D begins back in 2009, which is 13 years ago, okay? And throughout these years, the developer has actually accumulated a lot of different documentations and certifications and even awards, you know? And over here, we are here to share with you that, you know, this technology, it's been displayed in the Malaysia Export Exhibition Center, MATRADE, okay, the MECC Convention Hall, level 2. I think currently they are going through some renovation work. So for those people who plan to visit this place, you have to do it before August because they will be closing down for renovation during August, okay? So we managed to capture the video before they close down for renovation, and let's take a look at the video. Okay, so to give you more clarity, this is a technology collaboration between the developer, which is a Malaysian tech company, and emGuarde Japan. So emGuarde basically is supplying the marketing platform to market this worldwide, and emGuarde has obtained the sole distribution right globally. Okay, so this is how you should explain to your customer, just in case they are wondering where does this comes from or who manufactured this. So it's actually a technology collaboration between emGuarde and the tech company in Malaysia. Okay. So again, I would like to just address something here during this EIP training, just in case you face challenges, like people say, oh, so this is a Malaysian built technology. So how reputable it is, given it's a Malaysian built, okay? Now for we Malaysians, first of all, we have to be proud that, you know, we Malaysians has got this capability to design and to build such a technology which is being recognized by the Japanese instead, and they are willing to collaborate and to market this worldwide. Okay, now for your information, we Malaysians, we do build great products, and currently this has been distributed worldwide. If you guys are using a thumb drive, you know, the USB thumb drive, okay, it's actually built by Datuk Puah, and he's a Malaysian. He's a Kuala Selangor born boy, and he built this, and now his particular technology has been used worldwide, you know, by all different people around the world. So we Malaysians, we are capable of doing this. It's just that a lot of technology haven't been really gained its publicity. Okay. So now back in documentations, the first documentations that they obtained by the developer is back in 2010. So this is not a yesterday technology where you market this and your customer is actually the white rat or the lab rats. So they're doing this. So this is way back. So back in 2010, they obtained the Innovation Invention Technology Exhibition Award for reducing computer radiation. So this is the first generation. They are built to reduce the radiation from a computer. And back in year 2016, they improvised the technology into what you have today, which is a similar technology where it has the ability to suppress the EM radiation without you even touching the device. So it has the ability to travel across a 4-meter radius, okay? So it's airborne and it can effectively suppress this. So back in 2016, they submit this into the ICANN. ICANN, it's a Canadian innovation and invention competition. So it's International Invention Innovation Competition in Canada. And this developer, they won the gold medal award category. Okay, and this is the title of the competition: Reduce Electromagnetic Radiation from Electrical Appliance. Meaning today, I'm not saying that this thing can only settle radiation from the computer or even your handphone. No. Okay, in fact, emGuarde is built to reduce electromagnetic radiation from electrical appliance. We are talking about your television, we're talking about your microwaves, your induction cooker, your hair dryer, your water heater, your massage chair, you name it. Okay, these days we have bombarded ourselves and our home with all these different electrical appliances. Okay, so we deem that this product is something that the world needs. It's an essential product to be added in to your family, okay, to protect your loved ones. Now, followed by 2017, they then submit into another invention competition. This is International Invention Innovation Competition in Taiwan. It's called the IIIC, and they actually won this award for being able to remote distance speed up the microcirculation blood flow after suppressing the radiation, which is the negative effects of radiation. Okay, so this award again confirms that, you know, whatever Dr. Magda Havas mentioned, that, you know, radiation has the ability to cause Goldilocks formation, hence leading to poor circulation and poor oxygen transports. But with this technology, we are able to achieve an improvement of microcirculation blood flow, okay, after or through the techniques of suppressing the radiation. All right, then followed by a 2020 research we submit back in 2020, and this is through a local university, USM. University Science Malaysia is situated in Penang, okay, and they actually submit in, and it's actually through a few professors, and they managed to use the lab rats to reconfirm that, you know, there is also a positive impact towards the circulation of the animal's blood without affecting the heart rate and blood pressure at the same time. So for those people who have this nocebo effect, feeling that, you know, emGuarde is actually causing you high blood pressure, or some people felt this feeling that they can't really live around with emGuarde. Now, these are all nocebo effects, because to be honest, when they submit this into different tests through the clinical trials in Taiwan and also through USM, it is then confirmed that when you turn on the emGuarde, this machine is not built to affect your heart rate and blood pressure. Okay, it is only built to suppress the negative effects of the EM radiation. So it is not built to allow you to feel or to have symptoms such as what they felt from some of the feedbacks of the customers. Okay, so if we make very clear that some of these are the nocebo effects, is because through the demonstration and understanding, the general public felt that, you know, there is something from the emGuarde that's affecting them. Okay, so here I'd like to just clear the air, and emGuarde is not built to allow you to feel that. Instead, it is built to do a very technical suppression on the radiation instead of giving you or allowing your body to feel that kind of feeling. Okay, so number 5. So Taiwan 2020, it's the ophthalmology. Remember Dr. Liu Renjie? So this is the human clinical trial they put emGuarde through, and it's actually on the eyeball microcirculation blood flow. And with that test itself, it is then again reconfirmed that, you know, emGuarde has got the ability to provide you that benefit, you know, of improving your microcirculation blood flow. Now, through this section, I'm going to point out one very important keyword here. If you notice, right, item number 3 and item number 5, okay, we are talking about microcirculation blood flow. Microcirculation is basically talking about those very minute veins, you know, appearing below your finger. Okay, this is the fingertip. Okay, so there are micro veins here. So these are the microcirculations where you can detect using a microcirculation scope. Okay, or we are talking about places where you have a thinner skin like your ear, or maybe your eye, around your eyeball, okay, where these micro veins appear. So this is what we understand in terms of micro circulation blood flow. It is very different from blood circulation. Now that's a different thing, okay? So blood circulation, we're talking about your main arteries, your heart is pumping the blood, it's going through your main arteries and it's going up and down your body. Now those are blood circulation. emGuarde will not trigger and exert blood circulation, and to allow this so-called customers to felt, or they felt that this blood circulation is actually generating that kind of, they call it after use effect, or they call it healing crisis. No, I'm here to clean the air by telling you that emGuarde, it's able to help your body, okay, to improve or to increase the micro circulation blood flow. This is very micro or minute blood circulation, okay? And it's different from the blood circulation that we understand. All right. So finally, we got this SGS product certifications on FCC and also CE. And this tool itself is good enough for us to get into the US market and also the European market or the rest of the world, because this is actually the standards or the basic standards that a product should have. And SGS is actually a reputable testing laboratory facility started in Switzerland, and now they are made worldwide. So SGS is world top 5. So when people ask you, is emGuarde safe, or is emGuarde compatible with my different high valued devices around my house? So the answer is yes. You can actually use emGuarde together at the same time with your high valued devices, because emGuarde will not affect or create a negative impact on these other devices. At the same time, it is safe for public use. Okay, it is defined as it is safe for public use. That's the reason why we obtained these two valuable certification from SGS. Okay, so I think this two certificate itself, we will make it available for you to download. The final copy has already been out. It's in black and white. You can have this during a presentation to show your customer that this product is tested, certified, and it is safe for public use. Okay, so remember to upload this on the library, the front page. And last but not least, okay, so emGuarde is also a patented technology, and as you can see, we obtained the patent back in 2022. We submit the patent back in 2018 by the manufacturer, which is the tech owner, and they only obtained it back in 2022 because they need to verify the patent, they need to check around, and there you go. So it's a patented technology, and it is classified as proven through some of these testings. Okay, so hence, this is actually the documentations that I want to share with you today. And let's be patient and wait for Energic to release the final documentations upon the launching of Energic Japan in emGuarde. We have to respect the timeline. So now it's like a preview. This particular moment is time for we Malaysians to catch up. And eventually, when emGuarde launches in Japan officially, back in somewhere, I would reckon maybe October, early October, then Energic will then release the official documentations. Okay, so there you go. That's the end of the briefing and sharing today. I hope that all of you here has got immense value from some of the technical knowledge and also experiencing sharing that we have today for you. And we hope that this information can help you to propel your marketing process, okay, through the Energic system. Okay, so this is the final slide. Change your environment, change your life. So now let's get back to the chat box, and we have about, I know it's about lunchtime, so let's use this final 10 minutes to address some of the questions, technical questions we have. And if let's say we don't have the technical questions, then we will then officially close today's EIT training, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in the next EIT training in the near future. Okay, I would like to have my team to assist me to, so most of the questions we have actually replied to you on the chat box, and you can go back. Okay, let me just go to the latest one. Okay, I'm going to address one question I see here from chat box by SY. How about SIRIM certifications or ISO standards? Okay, so this is the question posted by SY. Now, for information, we actually get information from the official lab testing around Malaysia. Now, Serum itself is only a brand name. It is a laboratory brand name in Malaysia used to test this compliant testing. Okay, now, for the matter of fact, as long as your product obtain standards like CE and FCC, meaning your product is actually good enough to be marketed around Malaysia. So Serum itself is just a title, a brand name of a testing laboratory. So when we obtain SGS, because Energic is looking into global expansion, so we need something which is more global. So SGS, it's a global image. So it's like a global version of Serum. Okay, Serum is only in Malaysia, but SGS is the global version of Serum. So as long as we have that, it is good enough to be marketed in Malaysia market itself. All right. Okay, I'm going to scroll through the chat box. Hi, David, is there media platform to review the Q&A? Now, we are in the midst of compiling all the market FAQs from the Malaysian market. So please give us some time and we will then upload all these FAQs, or we deem it pertinent questions, into the emGuarde website in the near future. So in the near future, in the emGuarde website, which is the emGuarde.com, we will have this drawdown button and there is a specific FAQ button. So when you click in, we will segmentize the different commonly asked questions, okay? Then from there, we will have all the correct answers stated in the website. So we need time to develop this. It will be made available before the launch of Japan. Okay, another question coming in from Pauline. Is it supposed to cover an area of 4 meters? What if the room have doors? Is it still effective with rooms closed? Now the answer is yes. So the effective range is 4 meters. As long as you need to sidestep those elements like mirror, aluminium frame, okay, or maybe high electrostatic area. Besides that, emGuarde is good enough to cover you a minimum of 4 meter radius. So the question is, it is penetrable through concrete walls, and let's say your room door, it's a normal door, it's not an aluminium door or a metal door, then it's fine. Okay, I will just go further down. So I believe my colleague has already answered you based on the battery suggestion. Yes, we recommend either GP or Panasonic 9V, because we have this device where we can test the battery's voltage when it's new, okay? And we realize that when the Panasonic battery is new, it provides you a volt of more than 9 volt. So it is claimed 9V is very conservative, but it's actually giving you either 9.2 or 9.3. So when you have a higher voltage battery from a 9 volt, it actually projects out a more accurate reading when you run the battery through your radiation detector. Okay, so we realized that there is a lot of cheaper brands like those batteries made available through DIY. So when we do the testing, and shockingly, we found that some of the new batteries, they only gives you a total output of about 8 volt or maybe 8.2. Okay, so that might cause your Audi's battery to run out very fast. At the same time, you might not be getting the reading as accurate as these suggested battery brands. Okay, so we are humbly suggesting you to get the Panasonic 9 volt or the GP green cell battery. Thus, emGuarde does not guard against radiation emitted from Wi-Fi router, but the responding signal from the laptop. Is this correct? Okay, by Chang. So now, to make it clear, anything beyond 1 gigahertz, it's out of range. Okay, so this is not the emGuarde's effective range. So emGuarde's effective range is between or within the 1 gigahertz range. Okay, so we are not there to address intentional signal power density. We are there to address those unwanted energy, okay, releasing out from the different different frequency spectrums below 1 gigahertz. So we are still addressing the radiation from the laptop, which is the PCB board and the internal power circuit itself. So the answer is yes. When was the device being established? How long is it marketed? So emGuarde is pretty new because Energic took over the project early 2023. Okay, so that particular device that you came across in Hong Kong, that could be the previous model by the original developer. Okay, because they've been in the market since 2010. All right, so those are the old discontinued model. So for your information, in the market currently, you can still see that there are some devices deemed as the competition or the competitors. Okay, it's the round looking one with the sunflower cover. So those are discontinued version, or we call it the old version, by the previous sellers or the manufacturer. So currently, there is only one available device in the market, which is this particular emGuarde. Okay, so this is the current model, and this is the only available market. And Energic has got the global distribution right to this particular model. Okay, so this is new, and it is built and freshly baked, made available in year 2023. But the R&D and also the design development begins back in year 2022, which is more than a year ago. Okay, so it took Energic some time to develop and to firm up, and finally they decided to launch it this year. How many frequencies can it cancel out at the same time? Now, a question from VE. It is not about how many frequencies can we quantify this particular technology, because now the developer gave us an effective range between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. Okay, so the suppression begins in a randomized process, meaning first of all, emGuarde is going to analyze within 4 meter radius, and then it's releasing another opposing amplitude. So to be honest, everything happens within the speed of light, and there is no specific number to quantify this particular process. Okay, so it's built to cover unwanted and unintentional frequencies below 1 gigahertz, at the same time. So there is no specific how many frequencies. So it's like at the same time, one go at the speed of light. So it's simultaneous. Okay, so the process is simultaneous. Okay. The rest of the question has been answered in the chat box. Previous model. Replacement cost. Okay, we'll be sharing the Zoom link of the recording so that some of you, maybe your team members cannot make it today, it's holiday, and they don't want to revisit this particular training. We will have the recording link made available in the emGuarde channel, in the Telegram channel. So you can actually share this link to some of your team members and for them to learn about what you have learned in today's training. Okay. Nowadays, and then after the degrees. So for those people who are worrying about the temperature, where should you place emGuarde in? So now, to be honest, emGuarde is built to do portable. You can just carry it to your car, you can bring anywhere, you can plug in into your hotels and stuff like that. But it is not advisable to leave the emGuarde in the car itself during a hot sunny day. Because based on research, when your car is closed, all the windows up, and on a hot, burning sunny day, although the temperature outside the car can hit a very high temperature of maybe 37 degrees Celsius, but shockingly, in the car itself, the temperature can rise from 37 all the way up to about 60 over degrees Celsius, for information. So at that high temperature, it might affect the components of the emGuarde, because in the emGuarde itself, it is built with all these different components, and there are metal parts there. And when there is heat and when it's hot, so metal parts, they will expand and eventually they will sort of like shrink again at the same time. So it is not advisable to leave the emGuarde in the car during a hot sunny day. Okay, you need to protect your baby. It's like we don't leave the Kangen machine in the car during a hot sunny day. It's the same thing. So you need to protect that. Other than that, emGuarde has been through temperature testing all the way back to negative 20 degrees Celsius, all the way up to more than 60 degrees Celsius. It is built to withstand, okay, the temperature. But then a kind advice is we should not keep the emGuarde in the car during a hot sunny day. It's not advisable. Okay. All right, you're welcome. I've seen a lot of greetings from all distributors. How do we prove presence? Okay. Just global. Okay, guys, with that, I would like to conclude today's EIT training. And if let's say you have still, maybe today you have questions, but it's not it's not there, you can't really think of the question, you can post your questions to your immediate leader, and your immediate leader will have their ways to get to my attention, and I will address your questions one by one. If let's say I've received anything from my phone itself. Now, ever since the launch of emGuarde, my phone has been bombarded with messages and questions. So sometimes I might be getting back to you slower, okay, but please be patient with me because I need to address the questions one by one, and I hope to get your patience in that sense, okay. And for our Singaporean friends, those people who are waiting in Singapore, we will be heading to Singapore very soon to conduct a training, okay, in Singapore. I've been in touch with Bernard Chang, which is our immediate leader, and we also plan to do something like this in Singapore in the near future. And we're still waiting for Japan's decision, so we invite your patience. Okay, with that, I'd like to officially conclude today's emGuarde's intensive training. I thank you all for being present. I thank you all for being attentive, and see you again very soon. Thank you very much, guys. Bye. Goodbye.